Hi, everyone. Welcome to Morbid Planet. I'm your host, Erin Chapman. Today, we have a special guest, and they are the author of Once Upon a Grave and Empaths the Sensitive Human. I also like everyone to know that I consider Andy here one of Morbid Planet's #1 fans, just because he's always so supportive and he always is active on everything that we post on social media, which I really appreciate. So I would like everyone to meet. We'll give a warm welcome to Andy Bove. Welcome to the show. How's it going
Thank
today?
you. Oh, wonderful, Erin. Thank you. I've been wanting to be on the show for a while. I love everything you do on it, and I love vampires.
I know it's such a good niche, and it's so many people you find just have it in common, which is one
Oh,
of the
yeah.
best things that I like about talking with people online.
hmm
So I kind of like vampires and horror stuff, but vampires are my favorite part if I had to pick. So I'm not a zombie girl. I don't like zombies at all.
Oh, okay.
Do you like
Well,
zombies?
I do, but vampires are my absolute favorite supernatural, and I love horror, and for
Yeah.
me, both of them go together
Yeah, that's awesome.
so much.
So I like to always ask everyone just because I'm always curious. I like to go way back and find out what were you like as a kid? What interest did you have back then? And a lot of people they tell me their horror interests go all the way back. Were you interested in things like this as a kid, or is this kind of more as you got older? Or tell me a bit about yourself.
It was since childhood and started when I was 6 years old, and my
Oh,
dad read to me Masque of the Red Death by Edgar Allan Poe. And he
okay.
said, Andy, I think you're old enough and you're smart enough to understand this. And I just sat back in spellbound wonderment at Poe's style and his passion of the written word and literature and poetry and writing and the Gothic romantic Victorian style. And
Yeah.
everything in me said, you're an author. This is who you are. You're going to be a writer. That's what you're to do with your life. And my inner monologue said, well, how do I do that? And it said, let me show you how. And
Yeah.
I've been piecing myself together with it ever since.
Wow. When you were only 6 and you were just
Mhm.
like, you just sucked it in and you were just like, yes, this is what I love.
Definitely. It was nourishment for the soul completely.
That was cool. And I guess as you've gotten older and you were going through school and things like that, most people, when they're young adults or even before, they seem to have that aha moment when something in their life just pops to them. And at that point, that's what really got them interested in writing itself. When was your aha moment for writing, and when did you start doing your books?
I would have to say again when I was 6 years old with the story that I was just talking about with Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah.
That's what woke my insides up
Okay.
to who I was. Because oftentimes there's an external source that you don't completely expect that will just come into your life and
hmm
awaken who you are and what your love is and what you're meant for.
Yeah.
And let's see, I wrote everything. I read everything I get my hands on.
hmm
Every horror story, every myth, every legend, to piece myself together. And I always loved horror and terror and romanticism.
Yeah.
And my first book that I ever got published, the Once Upon a Grave book, was in 2013.
Okay. Okay. And how long did it take you to write? Just because I know some people have told me stories that like one person took 30 years to do a book. Another person, it took a couple years. How long did it take you to write that one?
In the actual writing of it, it happened in a night. Everything just came out of me. But
hmm
I think my insides were quietly piecing it together for several months. I'd say probably 4 to 6 months.
Okay. Okay. And otherwise, like, what kind of thing goes through your mind with your process when you're writing? Is it something where, like, do you just kind of get an idea and simmer on it for a little bit, or are you one of those people that writes out like an outline and kind of does it that way? What's your process for when you write something?
I'd have to say it naturally comes out of me. And when I first begin to see it, I see it as a play on stage
Oh,
or a
okay.
movie playing out in my mind.
Yeah.
And I feel and see and smell and touch and experience everything, the landscape, the characters, the feel of how everything's supposed to go. It's like my soul just shows me what it is. The everything that's responsible for my writing in me just shows me, and like dictating to me, and then I just take it from there.
Cool. Cool. And otherwise, can you tell our viewers, just because not everyone's read it, a little bit about Once Upon a Grave, what inspired you to write it, and then also about your other book, Empaths the Sensitive Human?
Yeah, definitely. I'll read the little back summary if that's
Yeah,
okay.
sure.
Of the book. Against the backdrop of the Great Depression, a group of young vampires move through the nights. Barns and shacks decorated in corpses are the only landmarks to their presence. Within the group, a quiet rebellion grows, and with it, the means to tear them apart. Blood and death always carry with it the truth. So it's
Cool.
mainly a group of young vampires in the during the time of the Great Depression trying to survive.
Yeah. Okay.
And I chose the Great Depression because I figured there's a lot of people moving around. And if you see somebody in a distance on a hill, like maybe a mile or maybe a little more, a little less away from you, you really can't tell if they're human or not. All you pretty much know is, okay, there's somebody moving around
You just
looking for
see
a
like a
job like me.
silhouette. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay.
And my vampires dressed like everybody else did in that time.
Hmm.
A lot of people just looking for regular jobs. So if you saw them, you would just think, okay, it's another person. However, if you're right up on them, like a couple feet away, you're definitely gonna be able to tell there's something preternatural going on there, something not human.
Okay. And can you tell us a little bit about like the main characters?
The main character is a young female vampire named Nicole,
Okay.
and she has a love-hate relationship with a the lead vampire of the group named Ben, who has been secretly keeping information about their kind from her and the rest of the group to subjugate them, to kind of keep them in line.
Yeah.
And Nicole and Ben have always had a growing, well, like I said, love hate that comes to a head in during the story, and they have a fight, and it goes from there. Um, but shoot, I lost my train of thought.
That's
Um,
okay.
Nicole is very um, strong survivor, primal type. Um, She knows what she wants. She knows how to fight. She knows how to survive. She's not afraid to ask or take what she wants. And she can definitely be her own character within the group or by herself.
Okay. And how about a little bit more about Ben? Because he sounds like he's a key player in all of this.
Ben is strong and capable, but manipulative
Okay.
and dominating, kind of passive aggressive, but particularly to Nicole. He has a particular dislike for Nicole because she's the most rebellious and willful of all the other vampires.
Ah, okay. Okay.
The, the others kind of fall in line eventually. She takes a lot more doing, and he resents the effort against him. He feels that Nicole and the others should just do as he says and fall in line. But he knows as well as they do that he's keeping stuff from them, and she as a character has had a growing distaste for it and wants answers and wants to know what's going on
Yeah.
and wants to know if that's a threat or a problem for the rest of them, and come to find out it is, and that plays out on its own.
Okay. And otherwise, like with the characters and everything as you write and develop, is there a little bit of you in these characters? I know a lot of people do that.
There's quite a bit of me in the characters. I didn't do that on purpose. It just kind of happened.
Okay.
um the I'd say there's quite a bit of me in Nicole, and there's quite a bit of me in there's another character named Dingo
Okay.
that she has a closeness. She and he have a closeness, and in my second book, I reveal everything that's a question in the first book in the second, and one of those things is a little spoiler thing. They're best friends, but I don't
Okay.
talk about that too much in the first book. But there's a time where the group fractures and separates, and the other vampires, kind of feeling the first breath and freedom of having their own lives and autonomy, kind of scatter off in their own directions to live their own lives. They don't have to
Okay.
be under thumb of Ben anymore.
Yeah.
And there's a moment where Ben and not Ben, Dingo and Nicole um, have a shared moment that you could see there's more closeness than just we're just casual friends. Like not a romantic, but
Okay.
more like we're very close friends, more so than the others.
Yeah.
And they leave and they part, and she doesn't know where he goes.
Okay. Okay, cool. Very good. And are you planning at some point, are you writing a sequel to this one, or is this just kind
Yep.
of like a one-off itself?
Oh no, it's the first in the trilogy, and I've been working
Okay.
on the second one for a good while now.
Okay.
And like I said, the second one is going to have all the questions answered from the first one.
Yeah.
And the second book is going to be called Bound to the Grave.
Okay. When do you
And
think that will be coming out?
I'm hoping spring or summer of next year,
Okay.
of this coming year, of 2022.
Cool. Gives people something to look forward to.
Oh, definitely.
And can you tell us about your other book then, about Empaths the Sensitive Human?
My other book is about empaths.
Okay.
And as you said, it's called Empaths the Sensitive Human. And it's my only nonfiction work I've written so far.
Okay.
And I've had quite a few friends tell me I should expound on it. I should write more. I should write another book about it. I'm not sure if I'm going to. I might, but it
Okay.
was something that was a long time coming. And I myself am an empath.
Okay.
And for anyone who doesn't know, an empath is a man or a woman or an animal like a cat or a dog that can feel the energy and emotions of other people within their body as if it's their own without having those emotions belong to them. And
Okay.
they can also pick up on the energies of an area or a place, an abandoned house, a field, things like that.
Okay. And so was the book, was it written a lot about like your experiences or like just between yours and other people you knew, or what's the book generally about then?
All of it is about my experiences as an empath and
Okay.
my life as one. And it's an intro book to how to be an empath and how to fit an empath into your life and understanding emotions and energies and the nature of human emotions, and all in a large effort to understand what it is to be human and a
Hmm.
human being in the world in relation to other people, and how that can relate to helping others based on your own understanding and helping yourself and others live a better life and have a better world.
And I guess obviously being an empath is can have some challenges with it when in your
Oh,
life.
very much.
What can you tell me about that? Just for everyday challenges or things that you've experienced, because it's not something a lot of people know a lot about.
Being an empath gives you, as a byproduct, one of the things it gives you is a very strong, large sensitivity to things, more so than someone who is not an empath.
Okay.
Like for example, an artist will have or experience a great capacity for sensitivity to people, to music, to art, to painting, to a landscape, to seeing the beauty of nature. They may become more consumed by it or impassioned by it, maybe so more so than maybe another person would. Um, it's like living within the soul of something, whereas before a person might not recognize the soul of that thing. Like if you see a graveyard on an autumn day
Hmm.
at dusk, and some people might say, oh, it's a graveyard, it looks rustic, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
An empath or an artist would see the living soul of the beauty of the leaves and the landscape and the age of the place and the stories it has to tell, and
Hmm.
how it's almost alive and feels like going to a church maybe, or
Yeah.
a synagogue or a Buddhist temple. There's an unspoken underlying piece that speaks directly to being human, that almost has no words but fills up your senses and consumes your being. And it's a very beautiful and can be overwhelming experience,
Hmm.
which that's one of the things I talk about with being an empath, is how not to get overwhelmed by emotion and feeling and energy. Because when I was all of this started with me when I was a little boy, and
Okay.
I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what was going on. I just knew what I could do. And as an empath, you gain a strong ability to well, my particular form of being an empath is tied into my intuition
Okay.
and my higher mind and my soul, my inner being, all of it working as one.
Yeah.
So there's a great deal of things that you can learn and gain from someone. It just starts with their emotions and their
Okay.
energies. And I naturally knew things about people, so I would tell them. And I was a little kid at first. I didn't know. Well, some people don't take too kindly to that. They get upset, may feel it's too invasive. and you can't go reading someone down like a grocery list. A lot of people don't care for that too much.
Yeah.
So I had to learn moderation with it. And then that taught me moderation with emotion and feeling. And more importantly, how you take care of yourself emotionally and how you relate to yourself emotionally is super huge and super important. You've got to be decent to yourself and caring with your emotions and what you feed yourself in your mind and what you feed yourself with your own feelings. And it's a very important thing not to what I call drop anchor in, say, a bad or negative feeling.
Yeah.
Because if you do that and you don't have the tools to move from that, that can leave a person there and that can
And
keep a
it
person.
weighs you.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it drains your energy and it drains your sense of self and your being. And it can cause anxiety and self-hurt and all kinds of stuff and leave a person not really knowing where to turn and very afraid and feeling very boxed in of perception when they're not, but all they see is that thing they don't want or they don't like and they don't understand how to get out of it. That's another reason why I wanted to write this book so much, was to help people. That's my main goal with being an empath, because I
Yeah.
personally feel it's a very human ability, but a lot of us get taught against it and get taught to toss it away when we're kids. Like, oh, you're too
Hmm.
sensitive, or you've got too much feeling about that, or that doesn't require so much feeling. Just use your mind,
Or you're
this or that.
just being too emotional. It's okay.
Bingo, exactly.
Yeah.
Or don't cry, or don't show this feeling, or you're not a man if, or you're not a woman if, and all
Yeah.
that stuff that we don't need. Is to help people to understand how to help themselves, how to see their way through things, how to relate better to, like I said, what they feel, and into themselves, to have a better overall life experience and human experience.
And so the first thing that comes to my head when we talk about this is how in the vampire community we have, sanguinarians, we have empath vampires. Do you ever consider yourself then as a vampire?
No, not in the way that novels or books or stories are. There's That would be so cool, but unfortunately that's not really a thing. If
Because
we
you
could
hear
turn
so many people talking about that. It's like,
Oh
no,
yeah.
no, I just drain your energy. That's what I do.
Mhm.
You know?
If we could physiologically become mist or a wolf, that would be so cool. I'd love to see somebody do that and then run, because you're probably going to die.
Yeah.
But no, I don't consider myself a sanguinarian. I don't consider myself an energy vampire. I feel that unless you have permission, no one has the right to take something that's not yours from another human being.
Mhm.
It's or get directly in the life path of another human being. It's what I've taken from. Part of my beliefs are like an amalgamation of Zen Buddhism and the Eastern beliefs and what the Greeks believed, and all kind of merged into one.
Yeah.
Now, if a person happens to be a sanguinarian or an energy vamp, and they have permission directly from someone, that's okay. That's more
Yeah.
um, acceptable. But you just don't go and take something that's not yours. That's not right.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Okay.
Um, but to me, the whole point of being an empath is to learn all that it is to be human and all that life is. And the two are very much joined, and to use it to help other people and to have yourself and them have a better overall life experience and world experience. And that creates a better world, a more positive world.
Cool. It's a very good way to explain it.
Oh, thank you.
And I want to go jump into something a little bit slightly different, but I know you mentioned to me that I think it was in October where you actually went to, was it DeadCon?
Yes,
And
it
you were on a
was.
horror panel.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
can you tell me about that experience? Because it sounds really cool, because a lot of people go to conventions and they're like in the audience kind of thing, and not a lot of people get on to be at actual panel. And
Mhm.
how did you get involved with it? And what, kind of process did it just go with, as opposed to, just like everyone else, we go to a convention, you just hang out, you watch everything, but you were actually on the other side.
Mm. My other publisher, the publisher that published my Empath book,
Yeah.
Eric Werner with Dark Moon Press, is how I got involved with DeadCon.
Okay.
He's the one who created DeadCon. He created
Ah,
all of it.
okay.
He set it up, got everybody there, made sure everything went the way it did. He set up everything. He is an extraordinary human being. He is amazing. One of the celebrities that he had there was Dacre Stoker, the great
Nice.
grandnephew of Bram Stoker. And I've met him, and he is a wonderful human being. He is incredible to talk to. He and I are friends. He is a great, great guy. Just to sit there in his presence and listen to him talk about Bram Stoker
Yeah,
and Bram Stoker's life is unbelievable. I sat there. I was just, it was
you're just in
fanboy
awe.
moment. Oh my God, I still am. I always will be. It was just so cool talking to him and just being around him and listening to him. And consequently, he was on the horror panel that I was on
Oh.
at the same time. And another fellow author of Dark Moon Press got me on the horror panel.
Hmm.
Um, Clay Gilbert, who was the moderator of, uh, I just brain farted.
It's okay.
Of, I do that of
We
the
all
horror
do.
panel. Oh yeah, I know. It happens. My flightiness. I think it's kind of increasing as I'm getting older. Maybe. Anyway, Clay Gilbert was the moderator of the horror panel, and the horror panel with Dacre Stoker had a great deal to do with vampires and horror
Okay.
writing. And we were asked very similar questions to what you were talking about, where how did you get started as an author and a horror author? What does horror mean to you? How did it first grab you in your life? What led you to it?
Hmm.
A lot of things like that. And it was just a beautiful, wonderful experience, the whole thing. And I was vending there with my empath book
Hmm.
and my vampire book. And I met a bunch of wonderful people and a bunch of wonderful vendors and quite a few other celebrities. And just seeing the people walk around in the cosplay and in the horror.
I know those
Um,
are always amazing to
oh my
see.
God.
Just the work that some people put into those.
Oh, it was unbelievable. There was a person that had an incarnation of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Ooh,
There was a couple that they were cosplaying Ghostbusters, and they had made their own trap, and they had made their own proton packs.
that's
Yeah,
impressive. Wow.
it was amazing. It was just such a fun time. It was so overwhelmingly wonderful. It was
Was
great.
it just like a day event or was it a
It
couple
was
days?
it was October 15th to the 17th, so it was a couple
Okay.
days.
Okay. Cool.
And there was a
And
masquerade ball too, which was that was wonderful.
would it be something that would you totally go back and do it again? Obviously, it sounds like,
I
yeah,
would
if
do
they
that
asked
again
you.
for the
Yeah.
rest of my life. I so would, and I would so welcome and jump at the chance to do horror panels again. That was a beautiful and wonderful experience. I loved doing that. That was fun and fantastic.
Is there any other I know with COVID it's a little challenging, but is there any other conventions that you either go are planning on going to in the future? Or maybe there's another one that you might be on a panel, do you know of yet?
There's two I'd like to go to: Horror Hound in Ohio and Texas
Mm.
Frightmare. I think is in Dallas
Oh,
or
okay.
Austin.
Okay.
I'd love to go to those. That'd be wonderful. There is a little one in my area called the Toy Man Show, and it's like
Oh,
a little mini con. And
yeah.
they have all kinds of vendors with antiques and toys and board games and models.
Ooh, that would be
And
fun.
that's oh, it's amazing. And that's on the lower floor. And the upper floor is authors and artists and photographers and painters. And there's a lot of great people there. And that's actually where I started going to little con groups and started vending was Toy Man Show.
I think seeing stuff like that for antiques, like for toys and other things, some like the few things that I've seen over the years, it's amazing what you see.
Oh
Like
yeah.
it was just so different. And the fact that they're so old and the quality sometimes that you see is still like so good. Other things, they just wear obviously with time, but that would be really fun, I think.
It's really cool. And the passion that people have for it and the knowledge they have about what they're vending and selling, and not only what they're doing, but what the other people are doing is just phenomenal. And the close friendships that they have and the people you get to know are just incredible. And they're so nice and they're so welcoming and they're so helpful. And everybody talks to each other. It's like a huge family.
That's
It's
cool.
like it is in theater. It's really great. Everybody helps everybody. Everybody looks out for everybody. If
Yeah.
you need to your table, go get a drink or get food. The person next to you, your neighbors, is gladly
You don't have
watches.
to worry about them stealing your stuff.
No, not at all. Not at all.
That's cool.
It's
And
really fun.
besides writing and these conventions and things, what other interests do you have outside of writing? And what do you do when you have downtime? What is your go-to thing?
I love going to museums. I love going to coffee houses. I love doing anything social.
Okay.
Um, I'm very much a gothic person, but unfortunately, my area there's no goth clubs. There's a club that has a night, but there are a few dark metal and dark horror bars
Yeah.
that I go to sometimes, and they have events that are a lot of fun. And the decor is all in like 80s and 90s horror movie themes with
Oh,
figurines and the walls painted and all kinds of stuff. It's really, really cool. And
nice.
I'm from well, I live in St. Charles, but St. Louis, Missouri is like 25 minutes away from me.
Okay.
And St. Louis has a huge horror, has always had a huge horror kind of foundation to it.
Okay.
William S. Burroughs is a local writer. Vincent Price was born here,
Yeah.
and of course is very much a local boy. Um, there are so many cemeteries and graveyards, some abandoned, and there's so much haunting activity here,
Mm-hmm.
and ghost hunts and ghost tours, and of course the whole Exorcist thing. The
Yeah.
Not the whole thing, but the other half of it, the final half of it, occurred here, and consequently, I have an uncle who lives in the Belnor neighborhood, which is the neighborhood where the alleged house is, and he lives 3 streets over from the Exorcist house.
Ah, yes. I know someone who I think they went past there, was it a couple
Mhm.
weeks ago or something? And then I was like, oh, wasn't that? And they're like, oh, I totally forgot because they'd gone and photographed like the famous stairwell. And then they're like,
Mhm.
oh, yeah, the house. Forgot about the house.
Oh yeah.
So, okay. And how about tell me about like, is there a fun fact that a lot of people don't know about you? Is there something quirky or something different that, people just don't know?
Hmm. I am a practicing witch, and I have been, oh, ever since I was a little boy, ever since the my empath ability started.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I'm also a black belt in Taekwondo.
That's cool. That's very handy. How long have you been doing that for?
Um, through 4 years of high school, and
Yeah.
then a year after, and then a lot of time went by, um, and there was a lot of unhealthiness in my life as far as diet and stuff, and I
Hmm.
got through all of that, and then I went back and got my black belt as of a month and a half ago.
Congratulations. That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And what is one of the most absurd things that you love? I love asking this because you get such random questions, yeah, random answers from people for this.
Llamas.
Llamas. See,
Yeah,
there's another good one.
I have an inside joke with friends because I would just I act in a very silly, zany manner. I'm
Yeah.
not a serious person at all, and I love to have fun, and I love things that are silly. And a lot of people say horror authors or horror people are big kids, not adults, and we are. All of us are.
Yeah.
But there was a theater group that I was part of for over a decade with quite a few friends, and a lot of us would just have funny little sayings. And one of mine was like "llama," and I would say like, for example, oh, I don't know, "plague llama," and everybody would laugh. And then I would say "microwave llama" or "apocalypse llama," and I would just do it in a funny little voice like "apocalypse llama," and everybody would laugh. And so that's where that comes from.
And are you one of those people like I collect turtle things obviously and I love turtles, but do you collect llama stuff or is it just strictly the same for you?
It's just strictly the same. I never thought of
Okay.
collecting them, but a good friend gave me one time.
Oh, okay.
And
So
that
you do have a llama.
yeah, it was funny. It was so funny.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay. Well, we're about almost out of time for everyone today. So if you guys haven't yet, make sure to like our video and subscribe below. That way you won't miss anything new that's coming up. We've got some really cool videos coming out for December. And before we sign off, do you have some social media or anything that you can refer people to for yourself or a website or anything like that?
I don't have a website, but
Or
my damn
Facebook
friend
page or anything?
Mhm.
Yeah.
That I have.
Okay.
My books, Once Upon a Grave and Empaths the Sensitive Human, can be found on Amazon for paperback and Kindle.
Perfect.
And I have a regular Facebook page, and I have a author page. And my pseudonym I go by is William Bove, which is my first name.
Okay.
I just thought that sounded pretty good as a writer,
Yeah.
so I went with it. But it's the author page of William Bove, and
Okay.
that and my regular Facebook page, Andy Bove, are both on Facebook. And a lot of news and upcoming stuff can be found on my author page of William Bove on Facebook.
Okay, cool. And what I'll get you to do is I'll get you to actually email me your links, and then that way
Oh,
we will put them in the description below. And then any of our viewers, if you guys want to check out everything, which I encourage you to, you'll be able to click on the links and have a look at what Andy's done. And otherwise, thank you for being on the show tonight. This was really fun. And it was a great experience. And again, #1 fan. I appreciate all the love that you give us for everything that I share and post on social media and for YouTube and for the website. So it's really appreciated. Thank you.
oh, you're
And
very welcome.
yeah. And
Aaron, thank you so
otherwise,
much. I'm sorry.
oh yeah, no, go for it.
Oh, I was going to say thank you so much for having me on. I had a lot of fun. I've been looking forward to this for a long time. I love Morbid Planet, and I've been talking with Erin and formed a friendship with her since before Morbid Planet became a thing,
It's
and
been a
she's been
while.
so excited about it for a long time, and it is finally here. I love seeing the happiness on her face with it and the
Thank
joy
you.
that she gets from doing it. And thank you again for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. Said we can always have you back again. So I'm
I
no
would love
problem
to
for
come
having
back.
people come back. And
I would love
okay,
that.
so thank you so much. And thank you again, everyone from home. Thanks for tuning in. Otherwise, this is Erin Chapman. And thank you for stopping by Morbid Planet today. Stay safe and stay morbid. See you soon. Bye for
Bye,
now.
everyone.